Now on CoastTV News.
Restoring learning legacy.
Right now, we're anticipating just over 500 students when we open.
The excitement in Milford as a once dormant school is holding classes again.
Rescue on the bay, why emergency crews were called for two separate incidents on the water near pot nets.
More of the same for Delmarva. Cooler than normal temperatures the next couple of days, and then warmer 80s return by Thursday and last into a part of the weekend, and only slight rain chances. Forecast details coming up.
Ocean City alignment. The partnership town officials are looking to continue with other law enforcement agencies.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And it is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, many students on Delmarva will have their first day of school this morning.
Hard to believe. They're definitely going to want to wear a jacket or a sweatshirt at the bus stop, walking to school, wherever you are, because it is not feeling like September 2nd outside, that's for sure. It was a very chilly Labor Day weekend.
Chilly Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. But not mad about it, though.
They should be prepared because, Bob, the morning that we're having this morning is very similar to the mornings we've had the last couple of days.
Absolutely. And good morning, Elisa and Matt. Yeah, it's a copy and paste situation. Another cool morning. And as you mentioned, it's the first day of school for many, so really be extra careful on the roads as we do have some ground fog. Now, the visibility is good for the most part. Limited visibility with thicker fog for the eastern shore, but I think that fog quickly burns off at sunrise. Temperatures cool once again in the low to mid 50s inland areas at the beaches. 69 Ocean City up to Lewis, same conditions, and then Georgetown, you're at 57, and a light north and northeast breeze, and that will continue. And onshore flow continues today with high pressure off to the north, and that continues to pump in the cool air and that onshore flow with high pressure locked overhead. So we're going to see more of the same. Once again, a little bit of fog this morning. Otherwise, the fog breaking up mid-morning. By noon, partly cloudy and cool. Low 70s inland, 60s and low 70s at the beaches. And you're going to be really cool there this afternoon along the coast. Low 70s and mid 70s inland areas. And your day part forecast once again has that onshore flow and cooler temperatures. But we do warm up for the end of the week with slight rain chances into the weekend. More on that coming up a little bit later on.
All right, thank you, Bob. And we're now taking a live look at the Bay Bridge in Maryland, and we're tracking this, thinking that some people opted to travel back today rather than yesterday, Labor Day. You can see traffic fairly light, as expected for this time of the morning. This is westbound traffic heading to Anne Arundel County. Our top story this hour is one that's about 13 years in the making. This once dormant school building on Lakeview Avenue in Milford is coming to life for a new school year. A restoration project puts a shine on a historic structure. That's when middle school students attend their first classes here this morning. The updated school will serve approximately 700 fifth and sixth grade students. Today it's nostalgia, meeting a growing city. The school can accommodate up to 1,000 students.
Many of your Milford citizens went to high school here. Others went through it when it was a middle school. It was even partially an elementary school, Lakeview Elementary, for a while.
We've seen some significant growth in the last 5 years here with the addition of a lot of developments and things being built around the community just outside of town and things of that nature.
It's fifth and sixth graders in this building as part of a district-wide realignment. Milford Central Academy will serve home to seventh and eighth graders.
It is also the first day of school for public school students in Worcester and Wycomico counties. It's the first year for new Superintendent Annette Wallace in Worcester County. It was about a month ago Maryland Governor Wes Moore announced a direction of $2.5 million for schools in both counties for energy-efficient projects.
And later this morning, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is set to sign a series of bills passed in the General Assembly dealing with education. Many of the pieces of legislation that originated in the House deal with school boards, including allowing members to attend meetings virtually if they're unable to be there in person. There's also Senate Bill 91. That ensures protection of students and school staff from sex-based discrimination and harassment. Meyer is scheduled to sign the bills at 9:30 at Stanton Middle School in Wilmington.
New this morning, we have reports of a person being hit by a vehicle in Ocean City. According to the OC Fire Department, this was approximately at 10 p.m. on Monday at 5th Street and Baltimore Avenue. The fire department says Maryland State Police Aviation Command was requested for a trauma patient. We do not have any updates on the patient's status at this time.
Some Labor Day fun in the Potnetz area turned into a potentially dangerous situation when two people were rescued from the Indian River Bay. According to the Indian River Fire Company, there were two separate incidents in this area involving jet skis. A woman's jet ski was taking on water in Lingo Creek near Paradise Grill. Marine police located her. No injuries were reported. And then a second jet ski was stuck in the mud further north. That rider was also found with no injuries.
3 people were hurt on Monday when a minivan drove through a crowded festival in Pennsylvania. The incident happened during a final day of the annual Kipona Festival in Harrisburg. Authorities say the driver of a red minivan crashed through a barrier and hit multiple people. Among the 3 people hurt was a child. Officials have not released the ages or names of the victims, but police say they're hospitalized in fair condition. The driver is being questioned by police.
And we're getting a live look now at Washington, D.C., where Congress gets back to work today after the August recess and debate resumes over some of President Trump's policy, the latest being the upheaval at the CDC and vaccine recommendations.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us the president is demanding that pharmaceutical companies justify the success of their COVID-19 drugs.
With cold and flu season bearing down and COVID cases rising, a shakeup in leadership at the CDC, and new restrictive guidelines drawing confusion about who can get the COVID vaccine. President Trump now weighing in, urging companies to justify the success of their various COVID drugs to, quote, clear up this mess one way or the other, appearing to call into question the effectiveness of the vaccines initially developed during his first term in a fast-track process he's long praised.
Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever.
That as 9 former heads of the CDC slammed Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a New York Times op-ed, saying he's, quote, endangering every American's health, and sharply criticizing his firing of CDC Director Dr. Susan Menares, who they say refused to, quote, rubber stamp dangerous and unfounded vaccine recommendations. 4 other top CDC leaders resigned in protest over the firing, one speaking out on NBC's Meet the Press.
There is now an irresistible force that is going to make it impossible for CDC to maintain the validity of its science against ideology.
Lawmakers back in Washington today preparing to press RFK Jr. for answers in a hearing Thursday.
This is contrary to what the Secretary said he was going to do, which was follow basic science.
I don't see him ignoring the science. I see him asking the hard questions.
A high-stakes battle raising serious questions for the nation's public health. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And Walgreens is saying it's prepared to offer the vaccine in states where they are able to do so.
Happening today, Ocean City officials are set to tackle several key items at their upcoming council meeting, including final votes on budget changes and a new mutual aid agreement with Worcester County. Mayor Rick Meehan and council members will hold a second reading of the fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. Also set for a second reading is a mutual aid agreement with the Worcester County Commissioners and Worcester County Sheriff's Office. Officials say the agreement would formalize reciprocal law enforcement support between the Sheriff's Office and Ocean City Police.
Tonight in Millsboro, food truck businesses are looking to get more options in the town. The Millsboro Council is expected to debate allowing food trucks within the municipal limits at all times with the proper permitting and fees. That meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m.
And we're just getting started this morning on CoastTV News Today.
Yeah, coming up on CoastTV News Today, theater season revealed. We look at some of the big performances next year at the Milton Theater following the announcement of the 2026 schedule.
Also, Bay Battle, why the Labor Day skipjack tradition at Deal Island also serves a purpose for the upcoming oyster season.
And Remembrance Week begins. The September 11th plans in Ocean City to honor those who lost their lives in the terrorist attack on our nation. CoastTV News Today is back after this.
5:11 on our Tuesday morning. Bay Health Cam in Dover. Visibility is good here. Eastern Shore, you're seeing some thicker fog and some patchy ground fog across Delaware and Maryland. Visibility is good for the most part, and that fog burns off at sunrise. It's in the 50s, so those kids going off to the bus stop, make sure they have a heavier sweatshirt. Upper 60s at the beaches. Winter come inland, a little bit of a breeze at the coast, and once again, we're seeing some of that patchy fog that burns off sunrise. Otherwise, it's a cool onshore flow once once again today with high pressure and off to the bus stop. Yes, I've dusted off the bus stop forecast. 55 off to school for the kiddos with patchy fog. And then heading home, much nicer, but still on the cool side. A mix of sun and clouds and 75 degrees.
Thank you, Bob. Ocean City is preparing to recognize the 24th anniversary of the September 11th attacks with a week of remembrance events. The town says starting this Friday, 2 beams of light will shine nightly from the Firefighters Memorial on North Division Street. There will also be nightly evening programs featuring a performance of taps and family tribute videos. On September 11th, there is a morning service that will take place along with the annual joint memorial service at the Firefighters Memorial.
Today in Cambridge, it's the kickoff event for Dorchester Goes Purple. The initiative is designed to bring awareness to the dangers of substance misuse. The kickoff begins at 5:30 p.m. at the Dorchester County Building on Court Lane. And according to organizers, tonight's event features food, games, a dunk tank, along with presentations from County Council and other members of the community.
Last night was another Powerball drawing, and we now know that no one is holding a winning ticket. The Powerball jackpot has jumped to $1.3 billion after no tickets matched the lucky numbers. While the largest prize went unclaimed, at least 2 tickets sold in Montana and North Carolina won $2 million, according to the Multi-State Lottery Association. The next chance to win big will be Wednesday. The odds of winning are 1 in 292 million.
Apple is announcing a launch event scheduled at its campus next week. Analysts expect Apple to release a lineup featuring new phones and Apple Watch models during its event scheduled for September 9th. The tagline on the invite sent to the media and analysts says, "Awe-dropping," and the tech giant plans to stream the event on its website. Apple usually makes announcements for its new phone model in September, and this year's model would be the iPhone 17.
A live look into Salisbury over SU. Visibility is good here. However, some other areas seeing some ground fog, so watch for that. Otherwise, a cool start. And then the cooler than normal weather continues for the next couple of days. And then the 80s return Thursday into a part of the weekend and only a slight chance for rain. I'll talk about those chances in your full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 5:16, and we're checking out the bright lights of Salisbury on this Tuesday morning. And Bob, I know you're working on tracking your systems there. I saw you over there just a moment ago. But you said it earlier this morning. It seems like it's cut and paste with the forecast.
Cut and paste, rinse and repeat. Yeah, Matt, we're stuck in this persistently cold pattern, and we've been seeing below normal temperatures for a better part of about a month, and that trend is continuing in the next couple of days. Now, we're going to see highs in the mid-70s, and typically we should be in the low 80s. And if you're venturing into the ocean, keep in mind the rip current risk is still moderate. Later in the week, it's warm. The humidity starts to rise. We'll see highs in the 80s. Then a cold front on Friday. No moisture with that, but I think a better chance of showers later Saturday with a secondary front. Visibility-wise, we're seeing 10 miles from Ocean City to Cambridge, but we are seeing pockets of ground fog as well, so keep that in mind. Maybe some thicker fog as you're heading up towards the Bay Bridge, so keep that in mind. That will burn off around sunrise, but it's cool. 52 in Redden, of course. It's the first day of school for many, and it's going to be cool for you. Make sure you have a sweatshirt or heavier jacket. 53 in Gumboro, 57 Millsboro, a little milder at the beaches. 69 from Ocean City up to Lewis right now, and we're looking at a light northerly breeze or a northeast breeze, and we'll continue to see basically an onshore flow as we go through the next couple of days, keeping us cool. Once again, you can see a little bit of white on the satellite indicating some of that ground fog. Otherwise, that burns off to more sunshine today with that flow off the ocean with high pressure over the top of us, and that high stretches all the way back into the Great Lakes and will keep us high and dry really right through Thursday with sun and clouds, highs in the 70s and 80s, lows in the 50s, and staying dry. Here's Futurecast this morning. Any kind of fog burns off to partly cloudy skies by noon. It's cool. Low 70s, even some upper 60s at the beaches, and low 70s there this afternoon with some low to mid 70s inland areas, so temperatures still running below average. Overnight, we're looking at partly cloudy skies by Wednesday morning. Another chilly start with 50s and 60s. You're seeing some green on the models here. I don't think we're looking at anything in the way of rain. Here's noon. partly cloudy skies, and then into the afternoon. Once again, it's cool with temperatures into the mid-70s. As we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning, it's going to be chilly once again with 50s and 60s. Thursday morning, once again, mid-50s inland, low 60s at the beaches. We're looking at a northeast wind today, not as strong as yesterday, becoming more variable tonight, then starting to turn to the south on Wednesday. And with that southerly shift in the wind, we're going to be looking at increasing humidity, comfortable the next couple of days, and then humid into Friday. And then the weekend, the humidity drops behind a front. And then as we head into the weekend, a slight chance of showers with the front later Saturday. But right now, it's not going to ruin your plans. It's not going to be a big precipitation maker. Upper 70s in Harrington and Georgetown today, cooler in Rehoboth at 72, 75 in Cambridge, Denton and Federalsburg, upper 70s with Princess Anne 77, Ocean City and Chincoteague at 75. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, temperatures ramping up. Of course, we've got Thursday night football, 83 on Thursday, 86 Friday, a few showers on Saturday, 87, and then cooling down on Sunday, 76 when we have Sunday night football, and cool into Monday. Congratulations to Jenny Clark from Dewey Beach on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. While we continue with a calm stretch of weather on Delmarva, that is not the case in Phoenix. Check out this video here of powerful monsoon storms last night. It brought rain, thunder, dust, and lightning. Some of the winds were reported to be up to 60 miles per hour.
Wow. A powerful solar storm is expected to reach Earth, potentially triggering a display of northern lights across the northern hemisphere. The stunning wave of auroras may be visible much further south than is typical. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Space Weather Prediction Center says the storm's dazzling auroral displays could stretch as far south as Upper Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, upstate New York, and even northern New England. And they say the peak is happening right now in the Eastern time zone.
A Labor Day tradition, the skipjack race on Deal Island. On Monday, the 66th annual event went off without a hitch. Plenty of people flocked to get a great view of these historic vessels out in the Chesapeake Bay. It requires skill to navigate through the Chesapeake Bay all the way to the finish line.
It's a flat, open boat with a huge sail area so that they can dredge across the oyster reefs under sail power only. Well, so they're not built for speed, they're built for power. So we like to call them tractors of the sea because they don't go fast, but they've got a lot of power.
Most of the skipjacks in the race are working vessels, and with oyster dredging season coming up in a month, the race gives crews the opportunity to make sure their boats are working in order.
And coming up next, stage season set. What the Milton Theater revealed in its 2026 performance schedule. Coast TV News Today returns in a moment.
New this morning, we now know the schedule at the Milton Theater for its main stage season 2026. Here are some of the performances on the calendar. From February 12th through March 8th, A Chorus Line. Grace begins a month run at theaters starting July 9th. And a good one for the Christmas season starts November 19th. That is Elf the Musical. And more information, including the full Milton Theater schedule, can be found on CoastTV.com and on our app.
Happening this weekend, it is the Shore Living Expo. The event celebrates health, wealth, and home on Delmarva. The free, family-friendly event takes place Saturday, September 6th at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Well, I think it's feeling more like October 2nd outside, not September 2nd, but I do love fall.
I know you love the fall.
I do.
But Bob, we were mentioning this the other day, the water temperature is still nice and comfortable.
Yes, and in fact, it's higher than the air temperature. We had that yesterday, and we're going to have that again today. Water temperature running in the mid-70s, only lower 70s for Fenwick Island and Ocean City. Rip current threat is moderate because of that northeast breeze. The UV index is very high. Waves around 2 to 3 feet. And then for Lewis, lower 70s for you, and the same for Rehoboth as well, with a mix of sun and clouds. On the bay side, your UV index is high, waves about a foot, and we're looking at highs in Cambridge this afternoon in the mid-70s, maybe slightly cooler in Crisfield into the lower 70s. A couple of cool days on the way, and then a warm up back into the 80s for the end of the week, and a slight chance of showers for the weekend. Much more on that coming up in the next half hour.
And still ahead on Coast TV News today, jet ski scares, the action taken by responders in 2 separate incidents near Potnets.
Also, education changes. We look at the bills Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is preparing to sign into law this morning that deal with school boards and discrimination.
And school days to districts in Maryland and Delaware starting class today, and why there is extra excitement in Milford. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
And welcome back. It is September 2nd, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
And we're just going to move on here. We're having some technical glitches, but we'll continue. But you see this pumpkin on our desk here? This is Elisa's back. She brought this, so I got a pumpkin from one particular garden. From the Garden State. How about that,
Yes,
New Jersey?
it is from my parents' front yard. They started growing pumpkins there after putting pumpkins in the same spot for like 20-something years, I guess, just over time. So they're very proud of these pumpkins. Yes, special Weber edition. And first meteorologist Bob Trey, he also got one too. Come on, I have to spread the love. So Bob, your pumpkin has to ripen though. My dad said leave it in the sun.
I know. Look at this, Elisa. Thank you very much, by the way. And beautiful pumpkin. I don't think I've ever seen a pumpkin that is yellowish, but Elisa said leave it in the sun and it'll turn as orange as Matt. So waiting for that, looking forward to that. Anyway, visibility wise this morning, it's looking pretty good out there. We're seeing a little bit of thicker fog for the eastern shore, and there is ground fog across Delaware and the rest of Maryland as well. So watch for that this morning. Temperatures are cool in the 50s, 57 in Georgetown, 55 in Willards. A little warmer at the beaches, 69 in Ocean City, 69 in Lewis. So because that breeze is coming off the warmer Atlantic, that's why it's warmer there. And a little bit of a breeze there. It's going to be another day with an onshore flow out of the northeast, and any kind of ground fog we have now will quickly burn off at sunrise as we have that persistent easterly flow with high pressure in place. So any fog burns off at sunrise. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds and another cool day. By noon, we're in the low 70s inland areas, some upper 60s at the beaches. Another cool day there with mid 70s inland and a few clouds from time to time. If you're riding the ferry, probably some whitecaps on the way up to Cape May with temperatures in the 60s and then low 70s and mix of sun and clouds. So make sure you have a sweatshirt and a windbreaker on your ferry trip.
Thank you, Bob. And we are now taking a live look at the Bay Bridge in Maryland. We are tracking the traffic on this roadway. As we can see, there's more cars in the last half hour when we checked. Many people may be driving back from their Labor Day weekend destinations today instead of yesterday. And it's about 13 years in the making. This once dormant school building on Lakeview Avenue in Milford is coming to life for a new school year. A restoration project puts a shine on a historic structure. That's when middle school students attended their first classes here this morning. The updated school will serve approximately 700 5th and 6th grade students. Today it is nostalgia meeting a growing city.
Right now, we're anticipating just over 500 students when we open on September the 2nd. The school will basically be occupied with the exception of the third floor of the original building. And so that space will be reserved for our future growth. And the capacity of the building is 1,000 students. So we still have the ability to fit close to an additional 300 students into the school as our community continues to grow.
And it is 5th and 6th graders in this building. As a part of a district-wide realignment, Milford Central Academy will serve home to 7th and 8th grades.
It's also the first day for public school students in Worcester and Wycomico counties. First year for new superintendent Dr. Annette Wallace in Worcester County, and it was about a month ago. Maryland Governor Wes Moore announced the direction of $2.5 million for schools in both counties for energy-efficient projects.
Happening today, Ocean City officials are set to tackle several key items at their upcoming council meeting, including final votes on a budget change and a new mutual aid agreement with Worcester County. Mayor Rick Meehan and council members will hold a second reading of the fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. Also set for a second reading is a mutual aid agreement with the Worcester County Commissioners and the Worcester County Sheriff's Office. Officials say the agreement would formalize reciprocal law enforcement support between the Sheriff's Office and Ocean City Police.
Later this morning, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is set to sign a series of bills passed in the General Assembly dealing with education. Now, many of the pieces of legislation that originated in the House, that deals with school boards, including allowing members to attend meetings virtually if they're unable to be there in person. Then there's also Senate Bill 91. That ensures protection of students and school staff from sex-based discrimination and harassment. Meyer is scheduled to sign the bills at 9:30 at Stanton Middle School in Wilmington.
On Monday at 10:52 a.m., the Indian River Volunteer Fire Company responded to a water rescue near Lingo Creek between Potnet's, Bayside, and the Peninsula. According to the Indian River Fire Company, the Millsboro and Dagsboro Fire Companies were also alerted, along with the Mid-Sussex Rescue Squad, the U.S. Coast Guard, Indian River Inlet Squadron, and the Denmark Marine Police. According to officials, responders handled two separate incidents: a red jet ski in distress with a female rider in the Lingo Creek near Paradise Grill. Marine Police located her and no injuries were reported. A second jet ski stuck in the mud further north. The rider, who recently had a leg injury, waited for a Denmark mud boat to assist. That rider was also retrieved with no injuries.
Happening today, the Fort Miles Historical Association is holding its 9th Victory over Japan ceremony. That's at 10 a.m. The ceremony marks the official end of World War II and honors the 774 Delaware service members and merchant mariners who died in the war. Now, after the ceremony, the Fort Miles Museum is open to the public from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tours are offered at noon to 2 p.m. The surrender that ended World War II, that was signed September 2nd, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, and the 16-inch gun barrel on display at Fort Miles. If you've been there, you probably have seen that. That was on board the battleship when the documents were signed.
New overnight, at least 54 people were shot in Chicago this Labor Day weekend, according to the city's police department. That includes one man and one woman who were killed in separate incidents Sunday night.
And President Trump has long criticized Chicago for violence, and John Lawrence shows us the president is expected to take action soon.
Last month, the Trump administration called for federal troops to take over Washington, D.C., and now Chicago could be next.
We will continue to go after the worst of the worst across the country, like President Trump has told us to do, focusing on those that are perpetuating murder and rape and trafficking of drugs.
President Trump has repeatedly blasted Chicago about crime, and a federal immigration enforcement operation in the Windy City might start later this week, according to sources close to the matter.
Have not called the city of Chicago or anyone else. So it's clear that in secret they're planning this. Well, it's an invasion with U.S. troops if they in fact do that.
Chicago officials are preemptively fighting back. Over the weekend, Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order that says police will not collaborate with federal agents. As for Chicago residents, opinions are mixed.
We don't need a Band-Aid to cover up the problem. What we need is a solution. No offense to the president, but we actually need someone that's in this community.
The residents deserve more. They deserve to feel safe. The crime should not take over the city. The crime should not make residents feel like they can't live everyday life.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
We got a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, airport protest in Baltimore, why Avilo Airlines is under fire.
Also wild in Wisconsin, the back and forth game for the Phillies against the Brewers in a battle of division leaders.
And final farewell, Bethany Beach says goodbye to summer with the annual jazz funeral. How long that tradition has been going on for. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
It is 5:39 on this Back to Work and School Tuesday. Dry Tech, Cam, and Ocean City. Milder at the beaches, 69 there, but then you go inland and it's a little cooler. And there are some areas of ground fog too, and visibility showing 10 miles. But we have the fog and it's a little thicker heading up towards the Bay Bridge as well. That will burn off as we head into the sunrise time frame. We're looking at temperatures chilly, low to mid 50s inland. So grabbing the bus or heading out, make sure you have that heavier sweatshirt with upper 60s. Along the beaches right now, and that's where there's a bit of a breeze, and it'll be another day with an onshore wind as we have the flow coming in out of the northeast around high pressure, keeping us unseasonably cool once again. Here's your drivecast this morning. Once again, really be careful around the school buses. I know it's the first day of school for many. Patchy fog, I gave it the yellow light there, and then a good looking afternoon and evening. We're looking at a green light for mild and dry conditions. And call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone. The number is 443-880-9100. Your forecast just a call away. Sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico.
Thank you, Bob. It's a tradition here on the coast, a full-on jazz funeral to mark the end of the summer season. Crowds wearing all black, carrying summer's 2025 casket down the Bethany Beach boardwalk, and those New Orleans-style bands setting the mood. Many people are sad to see summer go, but say it's always great coming together for this fond farewell.
I think the parade is one of the best parts, obviously, but we always love seeing the casket that they carry around for summer, and then all the signs and everything afterwards. I think that's probably the best.
And the Bethany Beach Jazz Funeral tradition began in 1985 and has been celebrated annually since then.
Ocean City is preparing to recognize the 24th anniversary of the September 11th attacks with a week of remembrance events. The town says starting this Friday, 2 beams of light will shine nightly from the Firefighters Memorial on North Division Street. And there is also nightly evening programs featuring a performance of taps and family tribute videos. On September 11th, there is a morning service and annual joint service at the Firefighters Memorial. Moving on, a big series for the Phillies. It started on Monday night in Milwaukee. The Phils and Brewers, they have the 2 best records in the National League, and it is a potential playoff preview next month. And it did not start well for the Phillies. Bryce Terang leads off the bottom of the first and takes that Taijuan Walker pitch for a ride. Solo shot, 1-0 Brewer lead. Phils would trail at one point by 4 runs. They get it to an 8-8 tie, and then in the 9th, the bearded one, Brandon Marsh, delivers. Garrett Stubbs scores. The Phillies back in front 9-8. Then some insurance here in the form of a Harrison Bader RBI blooper. Phillies get the win 10-8. They maintain their 6-game lead in the National League East over the Mets. Last night in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the debut for Bill Belichick as the Tar Heels head coach. It didn't go well for him. TCU scored early and often in a rout of the Tar Heels, 48-14.
Coming up tonight on DSN at 7 o'clock, it's the Hillcats at the Shorebirds, and at 10:30, it is the final score. Music and movie news now. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Taylor Swift has broken yet another record, this time one of her own. Spotify says Swift's upcoming album, The Life of a Showgirl, has the most pre-saved album countdown page in the streaming service's history, less than 3 weeks after she announced the album and more than a month before its release date, October 3rd. The record had been held by Swift's 2024 album, The Tortured Poets Department.
Along its nearly 1,500-mile journey, the Colorado connects the Rocky Mountains to the Gulf of California and nurtures landscapes that are bursting with wildlife.
The American Southwest chronicles the natural history of that region, how the Colorado River sustains both society and the natural world, and the need to manage it for both to continue to thrive. The documentary, narrated by Indigenous actress and activist Quanah Chasinghorse, opens in theaters Friday. Locations and showtimes at theamericansouthwest.film. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
A live look into Dover on the Bay Health Cam showing good visibility here, but watch out for areas of ground fog. That'll burn off around sunrise. Otherwise, yeah, it's a cool start and then a cooler than normal weather day again for Delmarva. That's going to last a couple of days, and then we're back into the 80s by the end of the week, and then a series of cold fronts bring a slight chance of showers into the weekend. I'll have all your forecast details coming up after the break.
The time is now 5:46, and we are taking a live look outside at Salisbury on this very cool morning. Bob, it is September, but it's not feeling like September 2nd. It's feeling like late September, maybe even October outside.
Oh, absolutely, Elisa. You know, yesterday was the first day of September, the first day of meteorological fall, and it's been feeling like fall for some time. Now, check this out. Over the last month or so, look at all the days below normal. There's just a handful of days that are above normal, so that is pretty pretty incredible, and that trend will continue for a couple more days, but there's a warm up on the way. So we're in the 70s the next 2 days, but then we jump into the low 80s on Thursday and then mid 80s Friday into Saturday. So that'll be nice. We go above normal for a change, but really only for a couple of days. Now, visibility wise, it's the first day of school for a lot of kids, and it's back to work for a lot of us. So watch out for areas of ground fog this morning. We are seeing visibilities officially around 10 miles, but there are pockets of fog, and some of that is thick. So watch for that. That burns off around sunrise, but another cool start, 58 Salisbury, 54 Gumboro, Millsboro 57, upper 60s from Ocean City up to Lewis right now. Winds are calm inland areas, but a little bit of a breeze at the coast, keeping you a little warmer. So once again, we'll see that fog burning off by about sunrise. Otherwise, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. We still have high pressure locked in across the northeast with that cool northeast flow off the ocean, and that will keep our temperatures below average. That high pressure ridging back into the Midwest, so essentially it's keeping all the clouds, showers, and bad weather right around the periphery of this high, and this will keep us in sun and clouds right through today into Thursday. Highs in the 70s and 80s, lows into the 50s, and staying dry. Now, here's Futurecast this morning. We have some fog and some low clouds, and that will burn off. We're seeing some green on here. I don't think we're looking at showers at all. We're just going to be seeing some clouds from time to time, especially into the afternoon, some cumulus clouds, and cool conditions, 60s and 70s at the coast, a little warmer inland, but not by much. You'll need that jacket this evening and tonight as we fall back into the 50s by Wednesday morning, 60s at the beaches, and then it's another day of sun and clouds on Wednesday, and by the afternoon, it's once again cool into the mid to upper 70s, cooler at the coast, and then moving into your Thursday morning, another chilly start with 50s and 60s. We have that northeast breeze today, not as strong as yesterday, and then it'll start to turn to the south later Wednesday as we increase the humidity. We're still comfortable humidity-wise the next couple of days, and then it becomes humid again by Friday into Saturday, and then behind a sharp cold front, it dries out into Sunday, and the moisture is meager. I think we're looking at maybe just a few showers on Saturday with the frontal passage, but that's about it. We need a soaking rain. I don't think we're really looking at it. 72 in Rehoboth today, upper 70s for the rest of Sussex County. 75 in Easton, Vienna 77, with Salisbury 75 and mid 70s along the beaches. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, warming it up as we go through the week. By Thursday, mostly sunny as we kick off Sunday night football on Thursday night with the Eagles and Cowboys, 83, and then mid-80s Friday, some showers on Saturday, and more football on Sunday night as we cool down into the mid-70s Sunday and Monday, and overnight lows into the 50s.
All right, thank you, Bob. Protesters gathered at BWI Airport in Maryland calling for the state to cut ties with Avelo Airlines, which operates deportation flights. Caroline Forback shows us how activists are using a petition to push for change.
Chanting and singing echoed through the departures area of BWI Sunday morning as dozens protested Avelo Airlines' role in federal deportation flights. The airline signed a federal charter contract with ICE back in April. Last month, Avelo operated nearly 20% of deportation flights nationwide, according to flight tracker data. Now, activists from Doctors for Camp Closure, the Baltimore Rapid Response Network, and Maryland Indivisible chapters are targeting Avelo's Maryland operations.
Also, we have the ability to stand up by using a petition that the Baltimore Rapid Response Network has created, and that is to request Governor Wes Moore to break the contract.
Since the federal contract is with the Department of Homeland Security, not Maryland, Governor Moore can't interfere. But he could look at Maryland's agreements with Avelo, like the lease that allows the airline to operate out of BWI, or state tax breaks. New York and Connecticut are already exploring similar options.
We're calling on the state of Maryland to tell Avelo, you're not welcome to operate here as long as you're being ICE collaborators.
Organizers say they've collected more than 4,000 signatures backing that demand.
What's next? This is going to be a continuing basis. There are actions happening throughout the country, and we're going to keep supporting that.
Happening this weekend, the Shore Living Expo. The event celebrates health, wealth, and home on Delmarva. The free family-friendly event takes place Saturday, September 6th at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the time is now 5:52, and we're going to check in with our Coastal Pet of the Day.
And today's Coastal Pet of the Day, like many people in America, ready for some college football. On your screen, that's Scooby. As you can see, he's sitting in front of the TV so he doesn't miss a minute of the action. And Scooby was submitted to us by Terry and Greenwood. I wonder if he roots for Penn State, Lisa.
No, I think he's watching Rutgers right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Definitely. Scooby's smart. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
Yeah, scan that QR code at the top of your screen to submit your friends to Coast TV News, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
New research suggests beta blockers may not benefit the vast majority of patients and may even raise the risk of death for some women. Beta blockers have been used for decades as a first-line treatment after a heart attack. Some analysts focused only on women and found those with little heart damage after their heart attack were significantly more likely to have another heart attack if they were treated with beta blockers. They were also more likely to die.
Taylor Fresh Foods is recalling one of its salad kits. It's due to the potential of undeclared ingredients. The recall is just for the Taylor Farms honey balsamic salad kit. The company says the salad dressing in the kit, it's actually the Asian sesame ginger dressing and not the honey balsamic vinaigrette dressing. As a result, the dressing may include sesame and soy, which are two large allergens.
The FDA has approved this year's updated COVID-19 vaccines, but only for a certain group of people. That includes adults ages 65 and older, as well as anyone who has certain medical conditions that would put them at risk for severe COVID-19 infections. According to the CDC, that includes asthma, heart disease, diabetes, and pregnancy. The time is now 5:56, so we are going to take another look at our very cool forecast.
If cool, Bob, this is a nice stretch,
Yeah.
and it's been nice not having to use the AC lately.
I know, it's awesome. Open the windows, let the fresh air in. And we do have areas of ground fog this morning, guys, so really be careful out there. It's back to work, back to school, so really drive with caution this morning. Some of that fog thick in places, it burns off by sunrise, but it's another cool day with a northeast wind. We're only warming into the mid-70s this afternoon. Low 70s at the beaches. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 75 today, down into the 50s the next couple of nights. One more day in the upper 70s Wednesday, partly cloudy. Then it's finally back into the 80s. Normal conditions on Thursday, 83, mid-80s Friday into the weekend. I think we could see a few showers later Saturday with the cold front. Won't wash away your plans. But then it's another cool down heading into Sunday, mid-70s. We keep it in the mid-70s as we go into next week. Maybe some showers again by Thursday, and lows in the 50s and 60s.
All right, Bob, thanks for that. Coming up in our next hour, back to school. The change is taking place in both Delaware and Maryland districts as a new academic year is beginning for many students this morning. Add more when we continue with Coast TV News today.